dynasty-wise in this division. So
right, that is very true. So that's the AFC South. We're going to move right into the AFC North. A couple of heavyweights in this division, perennial powers, Baltimore and the Steelers. But once again, we'll start at the bottom. And we could be starting at the bottom of the NFL with this team in the Cincinnati Bengals. And they're back to their bungling ways. The Bungles are back.
They're so bad, they may not win a game.
I agree.
Their quarterback is horrendous.
Yeah. And a rookie, a second-round pick at that. Not even a top 10 pick.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I do.
It's a bad situation. You're a rookie. You're not a top 10 pick rookie.
Right.
You're a second rounder at best.
You know, they did have A.J. Green in the first round. Nice playmaker, but what good's a receiver without anyone to get them the ball?
Right. They have other needs than that.
Yeah, and I think Marvin Lewis somehow he's escaped being fired the last few years. I think this time the nail finally goes in the coffin. I don't see him getting out of this year because they're going to be a bad team.
And it's too bad for him, too. I feel sorry for him. I don't necessarily think this team is his fault.
But he's been there long enough where he's never really put his stamp. The Carson Palmer retirement thing, I know that threw a monkey wrench in, but even with Carson Palmer, they're a 4-win team.
Yeah. You got rid of Ocho Cinco, which I don't know how good he is anymore.
Right.
But boy, is he a soundbite. Boy,
yeah.
Is he worth an extra 2,500 fans in the seats every Sunday?
Probably.
Maybe more.
But we talked about the Patriots earlier. We didn't bring up Ocho Cinco, and if you're on the Patriots and we didn't really talk about you, that probably tells you where your career's at this point.
Right. On a team like the Patriots, Ocho Cinco's overshadowed by a lot of other
That is true. Moving up to third place in the division, the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns are a team I kind of like. I'm not going to go crazy and say they're a 9-10 win team, but 7-9, 8-8. Colt McCoy, sneaky good quarterback. Didn't get a lot of credit coming out of college for the system he ran, but he moved that West Coast offense pretty good. Spent some of the offseason with Brett Favre, learning a few more intricacies of the offense. And Peyton Hillis is a darn good running back. Now losing Rob Ryan as defensive coordinator, probably going to set the defense back a little bit, but they're still rebuilding. It's not taking them from being a 12-win team to an 8-win team. They're going 6 or 7 to 8, probably tops, but a team on the rise.
I was going to say that I compare him to the Bills. Kind of have some sneaky good weapons. You see the arms on Peyton Hillis?
Yeah, he is a big man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the only man tougher is Ed Hockley, I believe.
I think you're right. A sneaky good team, managed well. I think they're coached well. I think their upper management is doing the right things, putting the right pieces in place. I think a team that is tough to play at home too. I mean, you bring them into Cleveland, and it's kind of a different team, but definitely on the rise. Not going to overtake Baltimore or Pittsburgh this year, but watch out, Baltimore.
Right. As the Ravens get older, the Browns are young and kind of up and coming, and the Ravens are probably on that hill of they're a year or two away from probably falling, and that does take us into the second place team in this division. At least for me, is the Ravens. I don't think you disagree with that.
This probably, like we talked about, the pinnacle of their opportunity.
Right.
Because it's kind of the breaking point. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed.
Right.
Some of their other key components are getting a little bit older.
Well, you lose your touchdown guy in Willis McGahee. You lose Todd Heap. You still have Anquan Bolden. Flacco is a fantastic young quarterback. You know, maybe not Matt Ryan good, but he's right behind him. He can lead a team. He's been in the AFC Championship game. Just hasn't quite got over the hump.
Flacco's very functional. He does everything right. He's not going to make mistakes, but he's also not going to. He's not going to wow you with that 325-yard game with 3 or 4 touchdowns, and he doesn't have to.
Right, but there are games where you go, yeah, he was pretty good. You look up and you're like, how did he end up at 280?
Yeah.
Or how he kind of gets someone in that neighborhood where you're surprised. You think he's thrown for 120. He might have 240, or he's got 180, but he got 2 touchdowns. It's like if the yards are low, he gets the touchdowns. If the yards are high, he may get. But he's just productive, very productive.
But they're multifaceted, so then the guy can go for 169 and 1 touchdown. They can still win by 20 points because the defense or special teams or the running game is making their plays and doing their job.
Right. And that takes us to team number 1 in this division, the AFC champs from last year. Hey, look at that. The Pittsburgh Steelers. That was right on cue. Very nice. They have everything. They have defense. They have offense. They have special teams. They're very well coached. And I'm sitting on a pretty big year for Ben Roethlisberger. This team's offense looked fantastic in the preseason. I know it was preseason, but they chewed up Philadelphia like they weren't even on the field. And I think Roethlisberger, 4,000 yards and maybe 35 to 40 touchdowns. I don't think that's crazy this year.
No, I don't either. I think this is this might be his biggest year of his career, possibly. I mean, I think he's certainly headed for that. I know people say it's preseason and it doesn't matter, but it does. It does. I mean, to a certain point, the preseason can tell you enough about a team to have a pretty good educated guess about what they're going to do, and that's why I'm crowning the Pittsburgh Steelers my AFC champions this year.
Well, all right, we're jumping a little ahead of ourselves with that, but there you have it. First bold prediction of the NFL preview there with the Steelers. I like the Steelers a lot. Hines Ward a little on decline, starting up there in the years.
But he has his place on this team.
He does, and he'll go across the middle. He's still going to make the tough catch. The things that the young guys on the outside won't necessarily do. Rashard Mendenhall carried the ball. He touched the ball over 400 times last year. That's a lot of touches. I expect his production to go down a little bit. But Roethlisberger got into the Super Bowl last year with all the offseason turmoil. And obviously, if he's not fazed by rape charges and sexual allegations, with none of that around him this year, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. And he's an outside MVP candidate in my estimation.
I agree. The pieces are in place. Another team that always seems to do things right. Take a team like the Packers, the Patriots. The Steelers are right there with making right personnel moves, the right choices at the right time, and putting the people in the right spot to succeed from top down.
I agree completely. Fantasy guy out of this division that we may not have on the tips of our tongues.
If you're in a keeper league, I would say AJ Green might be an easy one to pick late and hold on to and see what happens. Other than that, Lee Evans coming over from the Bills, I was kind of high on, and I think he could have a place on that team and get you some points fantasy-wise.
I'm going to go with Anquan Bolden, and not that he's not a household name, but in most of the drafts I've done, he's a 6th or 7th round pick.
He's available.
You're getting a #1 receiver, a proven 1,000-yard receiver.
Great hands.
And without Todd Heap, like I mentioned before, without Willis McGahee, he might be a 10 to 12 touchdown guy. It wouldn't be surprising. 1,100 yards, 10, 12 touchdowns. He's a guy that I don't think a lot of people think about. I think he's forgotten, and that's a guy I'm looking for a pretty good year out of that you wouldn't draft in the first couple rounds of your draft.